And welcome to Keep On Collecting, the Hasbro-maniacs. Here I am, alone. No Andrew tonight. Hopefully he's in the audience supporting me and checking us out. I'm going to bring in a bunch of guys, a bunch of mates who also love Hasbro, WWF wrestlers. There's not too much love given out there for live streams that we've noticed. So it was just an idea that we had just to get together and do this. And hopefully we can just talk about our experiences with Hasbro, chuck out some figs, faves, some not so faves, and anything that you guys want to talk about as well. We'll go through the chat later, but first, let me just get the one guys, sweet as. Well, firstly, at this time, let me first welcome to the stream, hailing from the state that brought us the Great Emu War of 32, weighing in at less than Andre the Giant's ton of empty beer bottles. He is 1/4 of the mutagens. He is a toy collector, a gamer, a lover of all things old school wrestling. It's the first time on Keep On Collecting. It's Oz Retro Gamer, enigmatic Enzo. Hello, my friend.
How are we?
That's the way. Good. I'm glad you're here.
Oh, what a great intro.
Yeah, it was a little bit of fun.
I wasn't expecting this to get ready to rumble, but that was great.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really going to rumble, but I always love Michael Buffer's stuff, so that's why I had to chuck that one in there. All righty. Next into our stream, residing in the land of the rising sun and weighing in at a lot less than King Kong Bundy, he is 1/11th of the Zazel's Clubhouse. He consistently has fun searching and getting lost on toy hunts in Japan cities. His hobbies include toy collecting, knocking down his toys, and accumulating a lot of frequent flyer points. It's our Kiwi in Japan, our very own treasure, the phenomenal Phil.
Konnichiwa. Konbanwa. Thanks for having me, Matt. Another great intro. Looking forward to this.
Yeah. I hope everyone's entertained, that you guys enjoyed as well. So we're starting off with a bang. All righty. Hailing from the vintage toy capital of Australia and weighing in at a lot less than the real Seth Rollins, he is a talented musician by night, a crazy toy collector by day, and a mad wrestling fan in between. He is known for his accidental boxes to the head and smashing that big red button. It's our very own Aussie, Seth Rollins. It's Sensational Sis from Nostalgia Button. And he's got...
Oh, that's right. It's Aussie Seth Rollins coming at you. Me and Cody Rhodes are going to lay the smackdown on The Rock and the tribal chief himself, Roman Reigns, this Sunday or Saturday if you're watching in the States for WrestleMania 40. Get excited, Butters. Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Brilliant.
God, man, you should be a wrestler. You've been watching a lot of wrestling.
The fact that he actually looks like Seth Rollins is hilarious.
Hey, he does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Never.
Aussie Seth Rollins. It's not just a gimmick.
All right. And finally, our last streamer for the evening, hailing from the Harbour City and weighing in at 5 kilograms less than he did 2 weeks ago. He is ringleader of those mischievous mutagens. He's the man who put the cool back into lollipop sucking. He is a KOC live stream royalty. Give it up for none other than Scott the Crusher.
Let me tell you something, Mean Gene. You don't leave the Crusher in the green room. I thought you forgot about me, Matt. What's going on?
Can't forget about you, Scotty.
Excited to be here, my friend.
Very good. And very
two title belts on camera.
Well, Sizdog
boys
is
going at it
definitely
tonight.
outshining me in the production quality of the belts, but that's okay.
Is that belt really big, or are you really big, Scott?
No, this is a full-size belt, so I'm enormous, as you guys know. But this must be the IC belt or the cruiserweight title. I don't know, but I'll put this down and pay respect to the world's title over there.
That's a 2013 kids belt. That's the one The Rock held back in 2013, 2014. Just in case anyone gives a shit about modern wrestling.
Some of us still watch it every now and then, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, my fandom kind of ended in the mid '90s, but I'm always intrigued to see what's going on in modern wrestling. But I've got to say, Sizdog, much of my knowledge of wrestling these days, whether it's the WWE or AEW, comes from the faces in the breaks that you guys do on your channel. You know what I mean? Because that's how I learn of a lot of these faces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I appreciate you that shout out, man. Yeah, I've found the last 6 to 12 months I've really enjoyed ripping packs and making stacks. And it's like a fun way to like be engaged in wrestling. I mean, there's a great local Melbourne scene of wrestling. I go and support that whenever I can, but you can't actually go and see AEW. You can't see WWE as an Aussie unless you fly over there. So one way to feel like you're a little bit part of the action is getting those wrestling cards every now and then.
For sure. And I got to say, man, like those shows that you've been to down in Melbourne and brought us with you by way of the channel, they look awesome, man. Like I don't know if Matt mentioned, we went and saw an indie show here a few weeks ago and had an absolute blast. And we were talking about how awesome that show that you went to recently that had Matt Cardona and that looked. It looked wicked.
Yeah, that's cool. WSW. That's a mob that bring out a lot of the internationals every 6 to 12 months, and Cardona's coming back in a couple of months to do it all again to defend his WSW title. And yeah, it's just a great event. The tickets are always really reasonably priced. They do a meet and greet, and if you ever want to meet any of the wrestlers, everyone's really giving of their time. I really haven't had any negative experiences with any of the wrestlers that come out. I mean, at the end of the day, they want your money, so they're going to be nice to you.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like in anything, man, if you're nice to someone, they're going to be nice to you back.
Totally.
Just that's the way it is.
That's
but no, I appreciate that. Thank you.
No worries, man. But, like obviously, Matt and I and Dean and a couple of other people, we're threatening to do a Melbourne trip. We need to make it happen in the second half of this year. But if we can, I mean, obviously, toy fairs are what we plan these things around. But if we can, it'd be sick to also catch a wrestling show. If timing works out.
He agrees.
He's fun.
But I'll keep
this in silence.
Oh, sorry.
There he is.
Not much Wi-Fi in the studio, so I apologize.
You're no selling me, bro. What's going on?
See, I'm coming out to Sydney, but I can't tell you exactly when. I'll tell you off cam.
All good, brother. All good. All good.
Sweet.
All right, let's get into the chat. We'll see who's in the chat. Got a few watching at the moment. We've got Bone Breaking Action. He's, I know, from the States, but you may have to miss this show being 4:30 in the morning for him, so you may have to catch some Z's for that.
He does some great great play motion actually with his Hasbros.
He does
Bone Breaking Action. He's hilarious.
He is, yeah, and he just like chucks in some random figures every now and then, like some of the Muppet Babies. But it's all in good fun, and so that's what. He's good to watch. Got Zazel. G'day, Zazel. Not sure if you're still there, but g'day, Sunny. Yep, perfect timing. Love it. We've got
Sunny.
Nate, the Retro Tinker. G'day, Nate.
G'day, Nate.
And I know we have Simon Shakhtar. Well, we know that how much he loves Hasbro's.
Absolutely.
Yes, Simon.
G'day, Simon.
And of course, I knew Jules should be in here for sure. G'day, Jules. Thank you for joining us.
G'day, Jules.
Always, yeah.
On you, Jules.
Keep going down the list here. We have Carl from Retro Cartel Collectibles, another big wrestling fan. I know.
Absolutely.
Hope we
G'day,
can
Carl.
keep you guys entertained. Look at that. We've got. He's in the chat as well.
He's in two places at once.
It's Andrew. G'day. He's, I think that's his Hulk Hogan impression. G'day, brother. Or let's get ready to rumble. Yeah, I thought people would enjoy that. We've got Dino, maybe Sarah, G'day, Dino. Thanks for joining us. Let me go. They're all just saying hi to each other. Hopefully I don't miss anybody. That's cool. That's everyone that's spoken in the chat. So that's cool. All righty. So tonight, I know that there's not a lot of people that do a lot of streams on Hasbro's. So, and I think Scott and Phil and I had just sort of thrown something around, but ages ago. And then Enzo's come up and gone, let's, how about getting a stream together? Yes, good idea. Let's do this. And I know another guy that would get in on it, and that's Sis. So let's get him aboard. So tonight, I think we'll just go around the room and have a chat, and just your memories of this toy line. It's an amazing toy line. How you're introduced to it. Just your memories on playing with the toy line. I think maybe for all you guys, it was probably your first toy line that you probably played with. Like for me, it was LJN. But for you guys, different memories for sure. And then we'll just go through and we'll show some favorite figures, and maybe a not so fave, and unmemorable mention, honorable mention, maybe. I think that's what we'll call it. If we've got time, I'd like to touch on the orange cards as well. That 12th wave that never came out. Thoughts on that, and but yeah. All right, so we'll start off with you, Enzo. Enzo, give us some memories and.
Well, I started off as a huge. Well, I still am. I still watch it every week. Still a huge wrestling fan in the 80s and the late 80s, because obviously I was born in '84. And I remember my dad bought me a figure. I don't actually remember which one it was. I want to say it was probably Big Boss Man, because he's the biggest memory I have at that period. But it was heavily influenced by the TV show, heavily in the 90s. And then at that point, when I was really into it in the 90s, I was fishing for more of the Hasbros. Unfortunately, majority of my favorites are in tubs at the moment in storage, because I opted to make more room for pinball machines in the house. But I've got some stuff that I had laying around, one of my favorite Hasbros. But for me, the line is it's got so much character, just as much as the actual wrestlers have, right? And I think we watch it for escapism, because we know it's obviously pre-scripted. I don't like using the word fake, because no one's going to, you can't fake them hitting the head with a chair. And, they're going to fake punches, obviously, wherever they can, but there's a lot of shit that's not fake. So, yes, it's scripted, but it is escapism for us. It is storytelling. And I think that's one of the reasons why everyone can really, really connect with it. One of my favorites was one of the customs I got recently. I think some of you have seen it, which is this Scott Hall custom. Because Scott Hall for me was a huge part of one of my favorite characters growing up, and I keep this out in my desk on my office, because I just love the detail in it. Even the chain is real. Oh yeah, so it moves around, and the apple and the gold coin. This is fantastic.
Is that based on the Razor Ramon in the vignettes when he was first introduced, and he was in Miami wearing all the outlandish stuff? Is that's capturing that?
Yeah, pretending to be South American or whatever it is.
Pretending to be Cuban,
and he's it's one of the greatest vignettes with his little toothpick. I was trying to get a toothpick in this somehow, but it was just such a. I just remember, I don't know why. I think I was at that point really, really watching it. And, where you would you couldn't wait till the following week. We had Galaxy back then. It wasn't Foxtel, it was Galaxy. Being in WA, everything's always a bit delayed. So we always wait a while for everything. But, that is one of my favorites, along with Dusty Rhodes. Dusty Rhodes is one of my favorite favorites. I've got this little Dusty Rhodes signed card.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. This was a gift from a really close friend of mine. Got it done at a show years ago, and he knew how much I really wanted to obviously try and meet him one day and get something signed. It never happened because he passed away. But that figure from Hasbro of Dusty Rhodes is one of my favorites. I've actually got it sealed up in a bag, in another bag, so it doesn't get damaged. And I was too scared to actually keep it out on my desk in case the kids got to it or something. Bret the Hitman Hart Hasbro is one of my faves as well. I do have a little Bret the Hitman Hart graded card, which is signed.
Wow.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
So I'm cheating a little bit here because I don't have any Hasbros actually to show, but I do have that fantastic Hasbro book that Scotty told me to get that I didn't know existed. We had all the figures in it. I forgot to grab that. That's
shout out Matt for that one.
that is fantastic. If nobody has that, get it. It's worth every cent. I think it's about $80 or $50 or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that. 50, $60. Yeah.
So cheating a little bit. Obviously, I've got the Royal Rumble pinball machine. I've got a replica, the best belt ever made, which is the original World Heavyweight belt. I don't know if you can see that. It is clipped in. I was going to take it down and do the Sizz Dog thing. Clipped up there as a topper. I got a Hulk Hogan signed jacket from when he was here in the late 90s.
Is that jacket vintage?
Yeah, it is.
Like the ones that you'd see in the merchandise section of the magazines?
Yeah, this was actually from, I don't remember where I got it from, but it does have that little hologram thing somewhere. I've got to find it.
That's unreal.
Yeah, really, really. It's got that real classic material. I was hoping one day I'll lose enough weight that I'll actually fit in it again, but my Bret Hart, I actually bought his book off his website, and he sent a pair of the glasses, which actually are signed.
Wow.
As a thank you for buying. You know, he was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. Excellence of execution right there for that. Yeah. And I'm a big Cody Rhodes crybaby. So I got my belt signed. They were here for the Elimination Chamber about a month ago in Perth, and I went to that. I queued for hours and hours and hours. And the wrestling crowd's really interesting because there's a lot of nice people. There's a lot of weird people. There's a lot of out there people. So it was really cool. I had a really big shower when I got back home. Really interesting people.
So when you got that belt signed, was that like a meet and greet that you'd had to pay for, or was it a free signing?
No,
like, what was it?
So he normally lines up like hundreds of them and just signs each one, right? And then you have to go to a specific area to buy it. And he happened to be, there was a meet and greet section, which I missed out of. I couldn't get tickets for, but he happened to be, somehow I missed because he got there a day late. He was one of the last ones to get there. So I actually got a glimpse of him up close, and he was actually they were bringing some more belts because they'd sold out so quickly. I mean, he's probably the number one merch seller up there with at the moment. Yeah. So, but yeah, look, it was a great experience because, like Sizz said, unless you're going to America, you just don't get to experience. That was the closest thing, I reckon, to what we would ever experience if you flew to the USA. And if anything, it was probably better because Optus Stadium is a phenomenal stadium. And WA government spared no expense. So, yeah, you can tell I'm a big fan, a huge fan.
Still a big fan.
And
that belt was just like a merch table item that you went and got from the shop. You didn't actually get to meet him and see him sign it.
No, you could have, and he would have signed it for you. But I missed out on that. Unfortunately, that sold out so fast. But it's a proper weight belt. Like these things they're not cheap. It was like $400.
Yeah, right.
The belt is proper quality. I mean, it's thick. And
it was $400 with the signature.
Yeah.
Wild, man.
So and without the signature, it's still $200 belt. Like it's not cheap. But for me, it's worth every cent. I was just talking to Matt before. I've got like original Royal Rumble poster with like 12 signatures on it.
Oh, yeah, wow. That's awesome.
So that's one of my favorite pieces. And I was saying to Maddie, I got this, which is a bit rare. Undertaker Bret on the same poster because they never said anything in the 90s.
Is that 97 SummerSlam?
I want to say it was. I knew you were going to ask me that. And and it doesn't actually say on the poster, which is really weird. Yeah. But I think it was 97. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, it's been just before he left.
Yeah, so that's my wrestling journey. I've got a whole heap of Cody Rhodes signed stuff.
Yeah, that's correct. 97.
97. I got Cody Rhodes figures, Sting figures. I'm a huge Sting. Love my Sting shirt. Got this from his retirement match.
There you go, Andrew. There you go. Show Andrew. Stand up again. That's for Andrew. Stinger.
All right.
Nice.
What a legend.
So Surfer Sting and Crow Sting. Although Joker Sting doesn't get enough love either. If I think Sis will agree with me there.
There you go. Could be on to something there, brother.
Yeah. But yeah, look, the toys was like I remember having them at my old house. I'd have them in the glass Detolf cabinet with the ring on top. And I remember you just walk past them and you just can't help. Like I've had a lot of toys in my time, and there's not many that I walk past and kind of stop and glance. You just stop and take it in every time I walk past it. Turtles does it as well, but I still reckon Hasbro takes the cake. There's just so much character engrossed in the figures. They're some of the best figures I reckon has ever made as the toy line.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Phil? What's your memories of the Hasbros?
Well, I'm probably on the older side of the scale with you there, Maddie. So I was born in 1980. So actually, I'm an LJN boy as well. So these are the guys that I had growing up. So I was really into the wrestling sort of 87 to 91, I guess. So this is pre the Hasbros. So yeah, me and my younger brother had a ton of these, and yeah, we just played with these non-stop growing up. They were brilliant. And yeah, I think the Hasbros sort of came out in New Zealand about maybe 90. They were out 90 or 91, I think. So I was about 11, and to be honest, I was. Sorry?
Bit of a delay.
I was just a bit echo, mate. That's right.
So I was just moving out of actually playing with toys and stuff. I sort of got into Ninja Turtles, and I was almost on the outs of buying toys. And then I remember my mother was in a department store once, and she was shopping for clothes, and I had a wee look around the toy department, and here's me doing a bit of flexing. I saw these carded figures on the shop shelf. So yeah, just seeing the WWF logo and obviously the picture of the wrestler as well, I was just so drawn into them. So it's actually the Hasbros sort of got me back into collecting toys a bit more than I thought, at sort of 11 and 12 years of age. So they were great. I didn't have a lot growing up. I probably only had, I think I got a few with me here. I think Hacksaw was the first one I got, because I just with it came with an accessory, so you thought you sort of got a bit more bang for your buck. So Hacksaw was never a favorite wrestler, but the fact that he came with his 2x4, I grabbed him off the shop peg. So it hasn't really been since I became an adult collector that I've really got into the Hasbros. So about 3 or 4 years ago, I started collecting, and to be honest, I collect about 6 or 7 different lines of toys. I collect G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles, Motu, but to be honest, the most enjoyable figure line that I've collected in the last few years has been the Hasbros, because it's brought back all of the memories. Because to be honest, I hadn't really followed wrestling since I was 11 or 12 years of age. So the Hasbros have really got me back interested in watching old wrestling clips on the internet again, and getting the DVDs and that sort of thing. So they're brilliant. And as Enzo said, when I walk into my toy room, often it's the Hasbros that catch my eye the first. They just pop on, they pop so much with so much color, and they're far more collectible than these things, because these things are big and they are pretty bloody expensive to get them in good condition. And like even this Macho Man, he's like sticky as they're just, I don't know, they're not great things to collect, I don't think. So
the rubber.
The rubber doesn't last well at all. So
do you find in Japan, like, because obviously wrestling is such a big thing over there, right?
Yeah.
So you find that the Hasbros it's easier to find them?
Yeah, I definitely, because I kind of cheat, but I look at figures in New Zealand, online in New Zealand and in Japan. They tend to pop up in Japan a lot more than in New Zealand. So I was lucky. I started collecting my Hasbros about 3 years ago, and the prices were pretty reasonable. They're about 15 to 20 Aussie dollars each. Now the prices have really jumped up. They're probably 3 times that now. So I'm glad I got in when I did. So I've probably got about 40 odd figures in the collections. I'm doing pretty well, but yeah, still plenty of gaps, and still lot of figures to hunt for. So yeah, they're great. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, very collectible.
How many in the line again? I'm really sorry.
I don't know exactly, but it's about 100.
Yeah.
All considered, all added up.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was like quite high, like around 90. I thought, but there you go. It's 100.
Well, because there were a couple of figures that got released twice, like Tatanka got released twice. The Shawn Michaels in white, I believe, popped up in 2 different waves. So you include all those, and then you throw in a couple of mailaways, and next thing, you're probably 96 figures at a guess, I'd say.
Yep, that's a pretty exact number.
There's a lot.
What are you going to bang for us there, sis, on that red button of yours?
My kids always come in and change the sound that the button makes. So the other day I just made it say, "Hey." Just so when I'm moving stuff around the toy room and I press it, it doesn't go, with random noises that my kids make.
Well, while we got you on the floor, sis, tell us about your experience with the Hasbro wrestlers. Like, when did you first get introduced to them? Your memories of them? What have you got at the moment in the collection? I'm going to make
so my collecting with the Hasbros, I mean, I guess we'll take it back to when I first, my first ever wrestling figure, and that was just up here. Give me 1 second. Here it is.
Oh, you guys.
So it's the Andre the Giant, long-haired Andre.
Nice.
Let me just put this on here. You can see a little better. 1 second. Here we go. Got a light on him. So there's my Andre. So this is my childhood one. It was either mine or my brother's. I'm not sure. Yep. A lot of bum scuff there. As they do.
A lot of matches.
Sorry.
A lot of matches he's been in.
Yeah, lots of matches with himself apparently, because we don't know. I don't remember ever owning another one. Maybe he had a whole lot just getting smashed around by himself. But somehow this one survived. This is my childhood Andre the Giant. And as far as Hasbro's go, I am 40, so this was how I was introduced to wrestling figures. But 1990, 1991, I was not a wrestling kid. It wasn't on the tally in the house. I didn't watch it. I was an Attitude Era kid, 17, 18, 19 years old. The Bone Crunchers are the ones that I remember buying and collecting as a young adult. But as far as the Hasbros, just very much like Phil, I really only got into collecting them later in life, like as an adult collector. So, I've got a whole bunch to show off. Should I show off the figures now? Yeah.
Well, I was going to go around later and just do. I don't know. Yeah. We'll just talk at the moment, but we'll come back to you about your faves. We'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been collecting the Hasbros as an adult collector now since probably 2018. Since the Major Wrestling Figure podcast was introduced into my world. And those guys, Matt Cardona and Brian Myers, just so infectious with the way they talk about the toys. And I was like, man, I really want to get into this. And luckily, at the very early stages of that podcast, all of those figures were, as Phil said, relatively cheap to pick up. Still some expensive, but most of them were pretty cheap. So I was lucky to pick up quite a few of them between then and now. I'll go through my collection a little bit later. Let's head over to. Yeah.
Well, you've actually, I just wanted to ask you, like, you've had the privilege of meeting those guys in person, like Matt and Brian Myers. Yeah, they what are they like in real life? They're pretty down to earth, or.
Well, like Matt is exactly what you think he's going to be like. He's a very larger than life personality. At heart, he's a really nice guy, but he is all about the money as well. Like when he's in town, he's very much about trying to make as much money as he can. But it makes sense because he's an independent wrestler now and he makes all his money at the merch stand. So like, for example, if you get a photo with Matt, you're going to have to pay. Whereas if you get a photo with Brian, as long as you buy something off his merch stand, he'll probably give you the photo for free, to be honest. But I mean, having said that, I've done a lot of work for those guys. Like I've done a lot of music for them for their podcast over the years. And maybe when I met Brian, that's probably why he was, didn't charge me for a photo, because he remembers all the music I've done for them. But no, those guys are super nice, and you can really kind of get a feel for their collecting and their passion, and it's totally rubbed off on me. Like prior to 2018, I didn't have any of this. Like this is from the last 6 years of collecting, literally behind me, and in the main house as well. If you've seen my video of my two toy rooms, I have another space in the main house, which Danielle allows me to filter, all my collecting habits in there. So no, those guys are super, super rad, and I've got a lot of time for them.
No, thank you.
It's a great podcast.
Yeah.
Have those two lads had like custom Hasbro like figures made of them? Because I know there are figures of them, right? Is there a sort of a Hasbro custom of those dudes, or?
Yeah, so Zombie Sailor does a bunch of Hasbros, and they were two of the first ones that ever got made. But they're modern looking in the Hasbro scale figures, so they don't look like retro. They look like them now, obviously. So it's not so much throwback; it's more of a tribute, to the Hasbros. Yeah. But they're super expensive. I don't own any Zombie Sailor because they're so expensive.
Oh, are they? Well, I was going to maybe talk about those later on, but I've never heard of that toy company before. But so that'd be interesting. All right, Scotty, let's hear it. What's your history with Hasbros? Man, I know you've got a massive collection there.
Dude, I could bang on about the Hasbros forever, man. They're there's something real special about the Hasbros. Like, I agree with what all these boys were saying. Like, the figures aren't particularly accurate. They're not, the scale's a little bit all over the shop. But to Enzo's point, they've got so much character, and it's based on an era where the wrestlers were cartoon characters, and the figures just go with that so well. Like, to me, it's just a toy line that captures an era so perfectly. And individually, some of the figures are good, some of the figures aren't so good. But when you see an assortment of them, it just takes you back to that era. I mean, there is something very special about the toy line. So for me, look, these stories have all been told on my channel, so I'm sorry if anyone's hearing this for like the third time. But I discovered wrestling in 1992, and for Christmas of 1992, I asked for the Hasbros, and instead I got.
You got some.
This is just randomly sitting here. Instead, I got the knockoff Soma Jackie J. This guy came with a pretty bad boy, like gold entrance robe with silver trim and a championship belt. And I just ripped those accessories straight off. And eventually, when I did get the Hasbros, I just used these accessories with the Hasbros. Christmas 1992 rolls around. There's no Hasbros. I got two of the dodgy Somas that my mum probably got from a discount store. But, and I've told this story before, but after Christmas, we went and visited my auntie and uncle and cousins in Canberra. And my cousin, who was a couple of years older than me, who was also into wrestling, he had about half a dozen Series 2 Hasbro figures. So we're talking the 1991 release, which probably only came out in 1992 here, but maybe early on in the year. And he was starting to get over wrestling already, and he was just kind of moving on to other stuff. So I managed to, take home with me when we went back to Sydney, the Hasbro ring and about 6 wrestlers. So you had the Series 2 Hogan, Hacksaw, $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, the Bushwhackers, the Rockers, and the ones that had accessories like, Phil showed Hacksaw Duggan with the 2x4. That was gone. The $1 Million Championship was gone. So none of those accessories. But like that was the start of my fig fed. And from there, I was into wrestling until about 1995. So I was kind of into toys until 1995 because I started high school in 1996. So the Hasbros were kind of the last action figure line that I played with, which means my memories of playing with them are the most vivid. My memories of playing with the Hasbros are way more vivid than playing with the Turtles. I had more Turtles, but I can remember like scenarios in matches that I played as a kid. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where the Hasbros sit for me. Now, with that said, my parents got a little bit better at Christmas gifts, but not that much better, because when Christmas 1993 rolled around, I was wanting the stars, and I got Doink the Clown, which admittedly is a pretty awesome figure. Like, if we're talking about capturing the character and the detail in terms of the hair, like, this is a pretty sweet figure. As a collector, this figure gets me excited. As a kid, it didn't get me that excited, because Doink was very much he was a bit player. And I also got like the head shrinkers when they were having a run, but they weren't like the tag team. So, it was my parents were just like, oh, they're wrestlers. A wrestler's a wrestler. It's all the same. We'll just, that'll do. That's fine. But with that said, and again, maybe I'll show this in more detail later on, but I used to get WWF magazines. Like, this is one of my childhood WWF magazines. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's got like the newsagents sliced through the cover with like a razor. It's got like a cross through.
Yes.
So this dodgy newsagent, like when it hit a certain date, I think newsagents have to destroy it to get their money back from the publisher or something like that, and then they would sell them to me cheap. But I used to stare at this all month and look at the Hasbros that were coming out month by month throughout 1993. And I used to just think in my naive childhood pre-internet brain that the toy store probably had all of these, when really in actual fact it probably just had rows and rows of Doink the Clown. So maybe I'm being a bit too hard on my parents in saying, like, why didn't they get me the superstars? But so anyway, that's the childhood Hasbro story. But Hasbros also have a really big role in terms of my collecting, because my very first adult toy purchase was a big lot of Hasbros that I originally bought with the intention of flipping, because I could see, through what was going on eBay that the line was picking up steam. It had a big collector's market. There was someone local to me that was just partying with a whole bunch of figures and the ring. And, I think it was about $400, which was pretty ridiculous for me to spend pre-collecting. But there was 36 figures and the ring. So when you think about it now, and there was an atom bomb. There's a green card atom bomb in there, and a few other really late figures. At the time, I didn't really I just thought, oh, this is pretty cool. I can probably clean them all up. It'll be a fun little summer project. Sell them on eBay, maybe make a bit of money, maybe keep a figure or two for the shelf. And I couldn't part with any of them as soon as they were in my hand. It was one of those things. And really, that's one of the big things that started me collecting in general. So not only were the Hasbros a big part of the childhood, they're also a big part of the origin of Scott Crusher, I suppose. So in the collecting sense. So again, I shut my mouth because I've probably blacked out and spoken for 15 minutes. But I love them. Suffice it to say.
I'll just read this out. Sarge left WWF to join Hasbro because of the LJN contract. Okay, it's speculated that the reason Sarge was let go from Joe is because Vince wanted payback after getting the Hasbro WWF contract. Okay, does anyone know about that? Or, well, obviously anyone can build on that. No?
I didn't know about that.
I didn't know about that. Yeah. Wow.
It must be true. If it's a Sarge story and Zazel's saying it, it's got to be bang on, right? I'm not going to argue.
From a good source, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Did you guys know? I found an interview. I didn't know that Ron Rudat was a designer, one of the designers on the Hasbro wrestlers. Did any of you guys know that?
No, yeah,
and Ron
absolutely.
Rudat is famous for G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Figure lines. So
wow.
Yeah,
and Ron Rudat is currently doing the designs for the Zombie Sailor Hasbro tribute toys that are currently available. And Ron is still contributing to his legacy in the Hasbro era by continuing the line with the zombie figs. Yeah,
absolutely. I didn't realize that. So there's just something small. Like I've seen the interview, and basically they asked him what his favorite figure was from there, and he could recall. He said Snake Eyes, but I think he was a bit confused. But he said Bret Hart because he liked Bret Hart, and oh my God, I've just gone a mental blank. Who was the not the Red Rooster, the other guy from the Iron movie that we've just seen, Scotty?
Oh, Texas Tornado.
Texas Tornado. God, gone a mental blank. But yeah, so those guys went over to visit him, and he said that his kid got up on Texas Tornado's shoulders, and he was playing with him, and he said Sarge also came over, and Sarge rocked up in a camoed limo, and so he said, oh, it was that. Yeah, there you go.
There you
Sarge.
go. There you go, Zazel.
There you go, Zazel. So yeah, he was asking whether that was Sarge's personal limo or provided by Hasbro, and Ron thought it might have been Sarge's personal camouflage limo. I couldn't confirm or deny that story, but yeah, very interesting. I didn't realize one of those designs. He said he wasn't there at the beginning. So the first year was a guy called, I think, Dan Price, who was the designer. But then after that, he took him on from the second year and went through. But yeah, I think Bret Hart and Sarge and Texas Tornado were his favorites. And Mr. Perfect. He's talking about Mr. Perfect.
It's interesting to hear that. I didn't know any of that, but it is interesting to hear that there was a different designer of the first series than the rest, because even though the Hasbro line reused a lot of parts, body types, play poses, etc., play features, there is a bit of an evolution to the line. You look at some of the figures or some of the characters, I should say, and it's like they took a couple of goes to really get it right on some of them.
Yeah. Well, what was I going to say? He couldn't. They were asking him questions basically around some of these unique figures like Kamala Moonbilly, and what's the story there? And he just couldn't recall a lot of this because he was the designer. He designed the toys. He wasn't part of the marketing, and they asked him things like, why did there wasn't a contract. What happened? Why did the toy line end? But he couldn't recall because he's not part of those discussions. He was just
commercial discussions, yeah.
Correct. So, I mean, it's still interesting few interviews that I watched from Ron Rudat. So, anyway, let's go around. Let's start from Enzo. I know you didn't bring any of your toys out, but can you?
Well, yeah, like I said before, I think the Scott Hall, the Bret Hart, the Teddy Biasi, Undertaker, Jake the Snake. I mean, like Scotty said, unfortunately, it's probably one of the most popular toy lines where a lot of the accessories went missing. They're so hard to find. Like Jake the Snake, with the snake and the way it poses, is just that is a great one. Scotty's got it. Oh, there you go. You got it.
You started to put shorts on after all that.
Yeah. Who's better?
Yeah.
I love it.
You show me yours, I'll show you mine.
Yeah, let's get your snakes out, boys.
Yeah. Friday night snake attack.
But yeah, look, I think one of the things that really captivated me was the artwork on the card back. Like, it was the idea of using the color with the WWF logo, which was a great logo back then, and then pictures, real photos of them. I think it was a fantastic combination. There is a guy that I know who I bought some turtle stuff off. I think he's in Victoria, could be Sydney. And when he asked me about Hasbro, I said, yeah, I love them. I've got some. He sent me a photo. He's got a complete carded collection, which I've got photos of. I'm not allowed to show them, but I will send them to you privately. But his collection would be worth. He's been offered $500,000.
God,
wow!
And he won't.
Just
he won't
the carded Hasbro's.
But he's they're all graded. They're all like minty, and they're all in cases. He's been offered $500,000 for them.
You should take it.
Dang.
No, I would, but he's so attached to that toy line, like it's crazy, and it's impressive when you see a whole wall of that. It's impressive. That's for sure.
For sure.
Be in comparison.
I think, those definitely, Dusty Rhodes. That one there sat right on the top. I had the ring on top, and I only put a few because they're the worst. If you knock them, it's like a freaking domino effect, and they all go down. So I really used to keep my favorites at the top. Yeah, I know. I can imagine. I used to have like Undertaker, Scott Hall, Bret Hart, Dusty, and they used to just all six. I think it was 6 or 7 of them in the ring. Used to just sit there, and I used to rotate them around and stuff. But they're probably my top 6, and then obviously the custom Scott Hall, which I showed before, is one of my favorites. And I think the amount of passion that goes into, even the hair on the chest and the face, and the amount of detail that these boys like.
Is it real fur on his chest?
No, it'd be good if it was, though.
A flocked chest would be wicked.
Flocked chest.
Yeah.
What a man.
Maybe trim some pubes or something and chuck them on there. As Sis was saying, they're just, these things are just like the passion that goes into customizing them is just, and the podcast, that podcast really got me back into the Hasbro toy line. Like, I was happy with the ones I had probably 40 or 50, but then when you listen to these guys, and then I saw the episode where they went to Lobos. I think obviously you did that. I don't know, it kind of reignited this passion in trying to find others. And at that point, this was like during COVID, and it was like just after COVID, their prices were just ridiculous. So I think it was after COVID. When did you do the video?
It was definitely after COVID, yeah. I shot a video of them. It was about 2022, I think. Yeah, I shot a video of them, and then they released their own one as well. So their one has got loads and loads of views, but my one, I was just kind of, they were happy for me to like make my own little vlog of them. And I'd actually used some of my footage in their own actual YouTube video as well, which was kind of cool. They have so much coin.
So Matt was cool. I met him over, and they did the show, the one here at, although ours was at the Italian Club, it was really, really small. And I think they were a bit disappointed with the turnout, to be honest. But it was just really cool to see them in person, because it was very refreshing to see they were on, and when they were off, it was exactly the same. Like, it was cool, because I think you can tell when they switch off. Like I met Austin Theory, which is one of the current ones. I met him here outside the hotel, and he was an ass. Like, when he was off, he was off. Like, wasn't interested, was abrupt. Like, it's like he's done his quota for the day, let me go, which I get it. Like, I totally get it, right? But, one of the interesting points that The Undertaker made was that we went to his Dead Man show here in Perth was, you know what you're getting into. You do get hounded. And the mistake a lot of these guys make is that they kind of try and switch off. And then there's a lot of negativity around, like, airport meet and greets and, fans trying to shove things in your face to get signed. And so I get it. But I think, you put yourself in that limelight. Like, Austin Theory was a dick.
So what was that interaction like? So, like, you went up to him and say, "Hey, Austin, can I get a picture?" Or like, what
no, actually, to be honest, we were walking back to the hotel that I knew where they were staying, and he happened to be walking with someone else who I didn't recognize. I don't think may have been like someone from behind the scenes or something, and a few people walking our way, because there's a particular street to get to that hotel. It was like a laneway. Spotted him as well, so we heard it, and like, they didn't rush him or anything. They were all walking the same way, so it was just like stopping and talking to him, and he wasn't really answering, and he wasn't really like engaging. And then he was it got to a point where you could tell that he was like not interested. And then someone said something like, "Oh, are you actually going to wrestle this weekend?" And he actually turned around and said, "Can you just leave me alone? I'm just trying to walk back to my hotel." But he comes across a bit cocky as well.
I mean, he is a heel, so he might have been trying to keep that heel persona up in public. But I mean, like you said, you can see it both ways. Like, if you're just trying to get back to your hotel room, and you don't want to speak to every single fan, like, it makes sense. He might be a little bit abrupt. He's like, "Guys, can you leave me alone?"
Well, there was only 4 of us. Totally. I totally get it. I agree with you, Sis. Like, it is hard for these guys. Like, and they probably have to play that persona. I think when there's no cameras around, there's only 4 of us, you can kind of not play the persona. But like, I get it. It was a little bit, underwhelming. And then on the other side, I've met a lot of them in my time, and they were all, fantastic. The one that I expected it to be the biggest dick was Brock Lesnar when he was here in like 2005 or something, but he was like the complete opposite. Like he was like picking questions. He was asking you how you're going, how you're finding it. We had it at the Burswood Dome here, and it was a pretty cool event. And he was just complete different to how I expected him to be.
Wow.
Because he didn't say anything back then, right? He never spoke.
No.
Right? He literally never spoke. So that was really cool to see. But yeah, like it was it was a great experience. I honestly really enjoyed that little indie show that they put on. I think the indies just don't get it. I mean, nowadays, after what Cody Rhodes did with going off to the indies and then setting that benchmark of, I know that all the indies have always been around, but I think setting that benchmark and then he went off and started, it kind of put a spotlight on the indies. Because what Matt Cardone has done in the indies, I don't think he could have done if Cody Rhodes hadn't done what he had done. That's just my take on it. But it's so cool to see what's happening with the indies. But yeah, I went a little bit off the segue there.
Yeah, that's because you're a passionate wrestling fan.
Yeah, and I'm glad that wrestling's great again. The last 6 months have been awesome. I mean, it's been okay. There was a period where I didn't watch it because it was way too just shit and corny. But I'm glad that it's great again. That's for sure.
It's funny. It's perspective. Like I talked to my son, and around the turn of the century, so early 2000s, around 2000 up to 2005, he always goes, "Oh, wrestling's not the same as it was back then, Dad." And I'm like, "Dude, that was like 15 years ago. Like you've got no idea." Like, so yeah, his perspective is that was what he grew up on, like that 2005 stuff, and nothing's as good as that. And
well, that period between the John Cena period was just shit for me. Like it was too PG, too kiddie. Nah, I didn't actually watch it. I couldn't tell you. Yeah. I stopped watching after CM Punk dropped his pipe bomb and left.
Yeah,
that to me is where because that was like where it had just gone to shit for everybody, and it I just stopped watching. The storylines were really average, and I used to just go back and watch all the stuff on WWF or WWE app because they just had everything on there, so you could just relive everything. But, I'm kind of glad that we've got this Raw product now that's a bit edgier, thanks to probably the competition as well that they've got now. So
competition's a good thing for sure.
Competition for them has been AEW is very, very good for them. It's good competition, and I think it's really elevated everyone and helped everyone because a lot of these wrestlers need to feed their family, right? So back in the day, they only had one option, and if you didn't make that option, you were struggling. You had to just do the indies. Which is what it is. But but I think the greatest is the Attitude Era and that time where they were fighting with the WCW and and then they were invading and then obviously eventually they bought WCW. That for me was great storytelling. That was some of the best memories of my teenage years. That's for sure because I'm 40 this year as well. So yeah, it was a big memory. 40 in a couple of weeks actually.
I like Scotty. Were you guys born the same day? What's going on?
What's your birthday, Scotty?
I'm on the 25th, mate.
Sorry?
I'm on the 25th.
Oh, no, I'm the 1st of May.
Oh, okay, yeah. We're like a week apart. There you go. It's awesome.
Yeah, right. 40.
How about you, Phil? We're going to move on to you, Phil. Do you have a few faves?
Yeah, well, I thought we were going to do like a round table top 5 or something. So I've got a table of about 10. I couldn't pick a top 5 because there's so many good ones. I've got about 8 or 9 here because I thought there would be a bunch of us with the same pick. So yeah, to be perfectly honest, I am stuck in a time trap. So the golden era of wrestling is really my thing. So as I was saying before, kind of 88 to 92-ish is I was all in on wrestling. Like G.I. Joe's got put aside, Motu got put aside. It was just wrestling was the only thing to me really. So it was LJN, and then a lot of the Hasbros that I like kind of bring me back to some of my favorite LJNs actually. So one of my top 5 favorites is old Bam Bam here. Because I did have him as an LJN when I was growing up, but the tattoos and the detail on Bam Bam are just unreal. Like he's got a couple of tattoos on his inside forearms and on his biceps as well. He's one of the unique Hasbros where his legs have actually got a bit of articulation.
Yeah.
I think the Earthquake and the Typhoon also have that sort of movement in his leg. So yeah, he's definitely a favorite of mine. I picked up a year or so back.
It's nuts that Bam Bam Bigelow is not in the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Is he not?
No, he's not. I don't think he is. I don't remember him ever being in the Hall of Fame. Sis, you would know this.
Don't know.
Well,
No, I don't think he is. Someone Google it. I don't want to touch my keyboard because my computer's going to freeze probably. But I'm pretty sure Bam Bam is not in the Hall of Fame, which blows my mind.
Wow. That is incredible.
yeah, he was a superstar when I was watching it. I think
But
this guy's a later release figure too. I think most of my figures on my desk here are the blue carded figures from the first 3 waves, but I think this dude may have been slightly later. Scott, you're up to play with the card backs for these figures, right? This guy was a bit later, I think, maybe. Putting you on the spot,
candy.
I think he was he may have been a red card back perhaps.
He's
He's a little bit
Series
later.
8. Is he Series 8?
Series
Series
8? That late. Okay.
There you go. Look,
Yeah,
he's on
red card sounds right, Phil.
There we go.
There you go. Red card.
Yeah.
Can anyone see that? Yeah.
Thank you, Matt.
I don't have it, sadly. But he's a fave that I'd love.
It's a beautiful fig. I mean, I had him. It's funny. I've got a feeling Phil's going to have a lot of the ones that I pulled out as well.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
The detail in the tattoos and just the colors, like the colors of the tights.
Yeah.
The head sculpt is nailed. I think I agree with you, Phil. I think he's one of the top sort of, at least for me, one of the top sort of 10, 15 figures that I have anyway.
I was
there
pretty
you go.
stoked.
Usual Mike says he's not in the Hall of Fame.
There we go.
That's good.
There you go.
Actually, one thing I do actually like about the Hasbros is that the majority of them do not come with accessories. So, being a collector and being a completionist and making sure you get if you're a TMNT collector or a GI Joe collector, it is a bloody nightmare like completing some things. But with these dudes, you get the figure and then that's it.
Yeah,
it's easy.
Yeah, some of them. Yeah.
But yeah, another favorite actually I've got is Coco. Just his colors, the yellow and the blue. He's one of these figures with the terrible, actually just pull down on his shoulders there, and he's got So I think Beefcake version 1. There is a few that came out like this. As Scott was saying, the early wave figures, they didn't quite get the molds right, I don't think. So yeah, his 2 legs are like basically tied together. But with Frankie as well, he's an awesome looking figure. And yeah, again, Coco was one of my favorite wrestlers watching on TV. So definitely another favorite of mine. Brutus was my favorite wrestler growing up, so I had to have Brutus. I had to have Brutus in my top 5, and this is the version 2. The version 1, which I showed on the card back before, the version 1 is a massive disappointment. He's probably one of the worst Hasbros that they brought out. So they did improve him a lot, actually.
Where are the scissors on that card back? Is it behind him somewhere?
I think he's they've kind of fallen out a bit. There is a wee there is a mold in the plastic for the scissors, mine that's just sort of come out a little bit. So
falling out of the mold.
G'day, guys.
Yeah, I guess that's what happens with 30, 35-year-old card backs, right?
Yeah, they start
to move around a bit.
I
love version 2. Version 2 is awesome.
Yeah, version 2 is a cracker.
Yeah. Well, I got my version 2 from the man below you, Sis.
Old Sis, right? Nice.
Yeah.
I did. Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't have his shears, but he's an awesome figure. I love him.
Yeah, I picked that up.
You gotta love the zebra tights, though.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what he wore, right? And those sheer things on the side there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
There is, yeah.
No, I think they nailed the version 2 of him. He's great.
He's got a really wild head sculpt. His head sculpt was the same for both figures, and it's like it captures him really nicely. You know,
wild
those eyes.
Those eyes, eh?
Yeah.
That's it.
What is he on? No, I absolutely love Brutus. I know he wasn't the best wrestler, you know, technically, but you know, just his theatrics and you know, the sleeper hold and cutting and strutting. Yeah, he was great.
There's a story from Usual Mike. He met Diamond Dallas Page, and he said he was good friends with Bam Bam, and he got emotional. Said he misses him a lot. Yeah, that was sad circumstances the way he passed. So, Joe Recondo, good morning.
Morning, Joe.
Oh, well, you had to make it.
Yeah, no, this is for. I knew Zazel would be in the chat, so I had to pull out Sarge for Zazel, but he is honestly a great looking Hasbro as well. Like, you know, so much paint to him. If you can get a good condition Sarge, yeah, absolutely beautiful on the shelf. So yeah, another one that with the finger point as well.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah, no accessories with that one, was there?
No swagger stick with him. Another one that I really like, another kind of a random one, I guess. I do love. Wasn't a favorite wrestler of mine at all, but I think Typhoon. Just the again, if you can get one with a good paint tap, just absolutely beautiful with the coloring.
Natural disasters get up. Yeah.
Yeah. So and again the face sculpt there, just mental.
They were really good face sculpts, weren't they?
Yeah.
G'day, G.
Very animated, as Scotty said. Like, very animated, very cartoonish, and just represented the era perfectly, I think. But my number one, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is in Scotty's top 3 or maybe his number 1 as well, is the Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah.
That's one thing they got right the first time. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, all good. Yeah, Wave 1. Yeah, they came out strong, and he's much better because they brought out a Macho King, didn't they? And also another Macho Man without the king on his bum, I think. So there are a couple of versions of Macho Man.
Hat and the tassels as well.
That's right. Yeah, I don't have that one.
That's his other one.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the Macho Man that I remember and love. So, again, he just really reminds me of my LJN. The colors are slightly different. Like the LJN, he's got the pink tights and the orange on the Hasbro. But just a classic, an absolutely classic figure.
Well, that's the 80s. That's the 80s one that we remember, isn't it? Like when he first was there with those stars on his trunks.
And I'm still stuck in the 80s, so yeah, that's good for me. But yeah, they would be my top picks. I mean, there are plenty others, but they would be my favorites.
Very good, very good. I thought you would have Macho Man in there, and especially Sarge. I knew they would probably have to make it in there for sure. How about you, Sis?
No tag teams. I should have put in the Bushwhackers as well. I should have put in the Kiwi duo, but they didn't quite make the cut.
They were just psychos, those guys, weren't they? Just
yeah, they were, comedic relief, basically. Yeah.
All right. How about you, Sis? Have you got a few faves on hand?
Absolutely. Much like Scott Crusher, I had a Facebook Marketplace opportunity come up about 5 years ago where the bloke was just, he's a real car guy and he was fixing up this car in the garage, and I went out to his place about an hour away, and he just had all these Hasbros just lined up, a lot of them with their accessories. At the time, I was just learning about the line. I had no idea what I was looking at. And he had a whole bunch. So I just, with the amount of cash that I had with me, it was about $400 or $500. I bought as many as I could. Like I tried to get him to bundle as many as I could. And I took them all home. So a lot of the ones that I'm going to show you tonight are from that initial haul, but others are not. Others from separate purchases that I've made since then to try to fill out the line. I've since stopped collecting the Hasbros because I'm really only up to the green and the orange cards, and they're just ridiculously pricey. But I do have a handful of those, more sought after ones. But I guess I want to start off with these ones first. So they're not technically, the Hasbros, but these are the talking figures.
Oh, yeah, they're beautiful.
Oh, yeah, cool.
And they're so cool. Like, they display so well. You can see they're usually in that top corner there. And I have the 3 incarnations of Hogan and Warrior underneath them so that they display so well. But if we just focus on Hogan first, it's got a great Hulk design on his chest there. Really great head sculpt. It's even got that's where the sound comes out, but there's holes in his shirt, but also holes in his body for the sound to come out. So when you pull the string, hey, Hulkamaniac!
That's not bad. That's kind of aged better than some talking toys of that age. Hey,
yeah, let's try again. Something, brother. I don't know. So yeah.
Oh no.
It's just it's so cool that this exists because these essentially are kind of like the 2-ups of if your Hasbro history, they would make type of figures in this scale and then scale them down. And obviously this is just a toy that they made in this scale. But, if you have a look at any of the Matt Cardona videos of his toy room, he has the actual 2-ups for a lot of these, which is really, really rad.
Wow. That's incredible.
So is that made out of the same plastic, Sizdog, as the smaller Hasbros? The same material? It's not. They're not rubber, are they? They're not rubber like the LJ.
No, they're definitely not rubber. They are a hard plastic.
Okay.
So, but they're just to a larger scale. I think they are a very similar one. But yeah, if we're moving on now to the Ultimate Warrior, again, just amazing color scheme with the black and the pink and the yellow decals there on his trunks. The ridiculous, I mean, it was Ultimate Warrior. He really did have these muscles. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and they couldn't really hide the holes for this one, so he's just been shot up by RoboCop. But something about Ultimate Destiny. I don't know, man. Good on you, Ultimate Warrior. But yeah,
that is a sick color scheme, though. It's cool that they didn't just repurpose one of the regular scale Hasbros in terms of the color scheme. I love that it's exclusive color scheme for that talking version.
Absolutely. It's really cool that they didn't rehash it. So you're totally right. I had 3 more to go. Actually, no, 4 more. Yeah. This was my next one. So yeah, Phil mentioned this one as well. I mean, come on. How toyetic is that? It's you just see this and you see the Macho Man.
put him on the top rope, hey.
Yeah. The action is just great with the double fist action there. The only gripe is that his little wrist tape isn't painted. Yeah, but I mean, other than that, it really is a perfect figure. I actually sourced this one from Hastel Toys, and they give so much crap on the Major Pod. He's now gone into business for himself, and he's making his own Hasbro style figures, some better than others. This is my little, because at the time this was just nowhere to be found. So I got this from Hastel Toys, and he did not give me a deal on this. This was quite expensive. Moving on now to Mr. Perfect in this great blue and yellow trunks. I do have his other one with the yellow, but I feel like the blue one really pops on the shelf. The Mr. P on his boots there, the black knee pads, the white wrist tape. Just super, super cool. One of my favorites.
Absolutely perfect.
Yes.
Good call, Scotty.
100%. Moving on now to my other favorite is a relatively difficult one to find, and he is increasing for you. But I picked him up for about $70 about 3 years ago, so I don't think you get much change out of $150 to $200 for old mate these days. It's a really great gig. His paint nap is in really good nick. I mean, even on his knee pads there, he's got like those little flower designs, and they're in pretty good condition. And yeah, I'd love to add this was really. He didn't. I'm getting confused. Is he Crush? Is that the same guy?
Adam Bomb.
No, it's Adam Bomb. Yeah.
Oh, no, there was just Crush and Crush, wasn't there? I'm getting confused. But they're more ones that I was, kind of expensive and wanted to sort after one day. But anyway, there's that one there, Adam Bomb.
They did team up though. They became, back in WCW. They become someone. I can't remember the name of their team now, but he became Wraith, I think, in WCW, and I can't remember who Crush became. And then they came over when they got bought out by WWE. They both came over and participated for about a month in the invasion storyline, and then they.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they were deemed not really good at their art and sent back down to. Who was the training grounds at that time for WWF?
Like FCW or whatever, yeah.
OVW?
Or OVW.
They were sent down there and they got the poos because they thought they were a lot better than WWE thought, and they just they left. They got rid of them. Yeah.
Two more little items I wanted to bring up for this Hasbro live stream we're having here with all of these Hasbro-maniacs. And that is a little mint card. Hulk Hogan Series 1.
Look at that, brother. Beautiful.
Look at that. Yeah, I don't want to take him out of this Zolo World case, but it's in pretty good nick. I figured, if I'm going to have one mock Hasbro, I may as well get, the number one. So I invested in this a little while back, and I'm really glad. I'd love to get it graded one day. I think the only thing it would stop from getting a pretty high grade is on the back. There's a little bit of creasing just there, which you can't really see on the camera. But what a fig. What a fig. Iconic. The one that really started it all. So before I finish up, I want to share one more thing with you. And that is my WWF Hasbro.
Oh, in the box. Dude.
In the box, yes. Wow. Pretty wild stuff. So the box on this side, you can see is still sealed. However, it has been opened. So I've opened it once just to see if everything was in there, and everything is in there. I don't really want to get it out because, I'd rather just keep it in the box. But all of the ring posts and like all of the things, like with the Turtles, and they have the little gimmick where you have to take out all the little sais and the swords and all that. Well, it's the same with this. There's a little thing where you can take off all of the things. Oh, screw it. I'll get it out. We'll get it out.
Get it out.
Rip it out, says.
Let's do it.
Why are we here?
So Chronic was the tag team that I was thinking of. Thanks, Mike. All right, let's make Sis big again.
What do you reckon that's worth now, Sis?
Not sure, man.
Oh, look at that.
So there is the sticker sheet that hasn't been used.
Wow.
Super cool.
That
so it's
awesome.
got Hulk.
So cool.
The logo there, a WrestleMania logo, the two flag stickers. And what's that one? That's the wrestling champion logo, I guess. So, yeah, that's the original sticker sheet there. The ropes like that. I guess that's how they came. So that's what I mean by the thing like the Turtles would come with.
Oh, the belt's on a sprue.
Oh, whoa.
Belt there like that.
That's
mental. Crazy. And the turnbuckles.
I guess that's what these little black things are.
Yeah, that'd be the turnbuckles.
Yeah.
Are they?
That's Or are they, or are they like the toppers, like the tops of the ring posts? Yeah.
Yeah, they look like the tops of the ring posts. Yeah.
We'll keep digging. So we've got the turnbuckles and the
Yeah,
flag.
there's the turnbuckles.
You would have to put that flag sticker on there.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I never knew they came fixed to a sprue like that. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Like that's how a lot of vintage toy accessories from that era came.
Yeah, and there's the posts.
Dude,
It's
now
like
I know
that.
why you don't display that out of box, because it's like you don't want to bust everything off sprue and put stickers on, and you just want to leave that pristine.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Okay, so one of them has come off. So that there has come out of there in storage. But yeah, look, whatever. And then it also has this little instruction manual for how to put it all together, bro. Which is just wild. Look at that.
Where did you get this from, Sis?
So this was from a seller off Facebook Marketplace. It was the guy that was selling a bunch of the figures. He bought it from America and brought it home and just wanted to let it all go. So, yeah, it's got a bunch of the figures here. This is from 1990. It shows you the belt holder and where to put it. It shows you exactly where to put all the stickers and how to place it all together. So I was watching your channel today, Scotty, and I saw that you were trying to ask a question about the post and how to put it on, because the replacement one that you had wasn't going in the correct spot.
Yeah, the flag, yeah.
So with this one I've got that I haven't used, I'll take some close-ups of that little gimmick, and I'll let you know which one I have, and maybe
is
that
it
will
blue or black?
This whole thing is blue.
Okay, yeah, it's blue. So my original flag that's broken off my ring is black.
Yeah.
Oh.
And the replacement flag that I bought is blue.
Oh.
And this definitely isn't. This definitely isn't. There's nothing counterfeit about this, because it's you can see where it's actually snapped off. I can see the end of this inside one of the corner posts. So there was definitely a few versions of the ring that were released in different markets. So it's just another one of those obscurities that we nerd out about when we try to complete these lines.
Is there another version of the ring that they brought out? Was there a yellow ring as well?
That's completely different King of the Ring version, which is ridiculously expensive and hard to track down, but very cool.
Oh, that's so cool, Sis.
Well, we obviously don't read our book, because our Hasbook actually has pictures of them all on the sprues. So
wow.
We're not looking at that very carefully then, are we?
I didn't get past all the wrestlers.
Yeah, that's probably exactly right. They're the ones that are selling it. G4.
So that's the end of my Hasbro journey. Like I said, I have a whole bunch of figures that I've been slowly collecting to try to fill out the line. But the green cards, like I'd love a 1, 2, 3 kid, but I've got other things I'd rather spend $1,000 on. So
why is the 1, 2, 3 kid the expensive one?
It's because it's a green card.
Just because of the rarity of it.
No,
not because it's the best figure.
So all actually the green cards are that amount?
For the most part, yeah, most of them are between $600, $700, $800
on card,
even loose.
But 1, 2, 3 kid is, out of all the green cards, it's the one that fetches the highest prices. So even within the green cards, it must have been released in the smallest volumes, I would assume.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell my story now? I've told you, Scott. You know the story about the me and green cards.
If you want to put yourself through that and relive it, let's go.
Well, I have to, because
you
guys are like flashing the cards, figures left, right, and center. So, for myself, I guess I was looking forward to the initial WrestleMania. It was massive advertising at the time for Channel 10, and I remember watching that and just absolutely fascinated. Like, we knew of Mr. T, we didn't know any of these wrestlers. We heard of Cyndi Lauper, Muhammad Ali. They were all involved, and So to watch this from Woe to Go, and I just fell in love with wrestling. And I remember it was a big thing at school. Like so many kids watched this WrestleMania. So we went to school the next day and we got like bins. We tipped them up the wrong way and made a ring post in the ground. And we started playing wrestling. Anyway, so I don't know how, we didn't understand that, they were hitting each other and they know how to take a hit. And we didn't. Like, we're smacking each other around. Anyway, so I go for the big slam, and I don't know what I was going to do with this guy on asphalt, but I went for the big pickup, and my neck just went the big muscle went bang. I'm like, oh, and I just let the guy go. I'm walking around for the next week with my neck like this, and it was just huge. And then it was on Channel 10, the Wrestling Superstars. I really wanted to play the that opener for us all, just so I could show you all we watched on Channel 10 on Friday nights, but copyright, it was, because they used the Thriller song. So they actually used the Thriller music, but no words from it, so I couldn't play it. But anyway, I got back into wrestling, and I'm not really sure, it was around that 90s time, so the green cards must have come out in 94. Anyway, I was on a trip to the city, and I decided to pop into Toys R Us, and I had some wrestlers from the early, the 90s. So some of the first ones like Andre the Giant, Roddy Piper, Hulk Hogan. So I had a bunch of them, and I hadn't picked them up for a couple of years. So I popped into this Toys R Us, and there they were, bunch of purple cards and all the green card ones. So I went, oh yeah, I can afford all these, whatever they were. They're all on special clearance. So I grabbed them all. So I had all the. Look, I can't remember, to tell you the truth, Scotty. They might have been I'm even going to try and guess. Yeah, something like $5-10. Yeah. So I grabbed them all, and I took them all off their card, all these green ones. I had no idea, and then it was just years later. It must have been around the year 2001, and they're just sitting in my cupboards. Had the wrestling ring and all these wrestlers, all the green card ones, and I just went, oh, these are just sitting here doing nothing. I'm going to get rid of them. So I sold the whole lot for $200. Gone. That's it. That's it. That's for the green cards, and that's my sad story on green cards.
If you had have read action figure news and toy reviews for January of 1994, you would know that Hasbro green cards were tipped to become collector's items because Hasbro, WWF line rides off into the sunset.
Wow.
This article recommended to all the toy dealers out there that hang on to them. It's
when was that magazine released, Scotty?
What's that, mate?
When was that magazine published?
This magazine was published in. Oh, sorry, I'm lying to you. January of 1995. I suppose that makes sense.
Yes, yeah. I didn't know about that. I didn't read until afterwargot.
Oh, mate, I'm just winding you up. I'm surprised.
I missed out.
We forgive you, Maddie.
Relive that story.
I've got a big fat zero green card figures in my collection at this stage. Anyway, that's the way it goes.
Back then, you'd never know that these things would skyrocket in price, right? None of us would know that all of these vintage figures, 30 years later would, the prices would be going gangbusters.
Yeah, you never know. I was just doing a culling at the time. I wasn't as adamant about my collecting as I was. I had a big collection, but nowhere near like today. And I just wanted to make some room so I could get something else. And they were the ones that got cleared out. So I've been making up for them ever since.
Matt, at least you got a couple of $100 for them, and it wasn't like you had them all as a kid and then your mum got donated them or got rid of them in a garage sale. Exactly. At least you got a couple of $100. I'm trying to find a silver lining for you, my friend.
So some guy offered me $100, which was on eBay, early days of eBay. He goes, "Oh, I'll buy it all now for $100." And I went, "Oh, $100? That's a lot." And I went, "No, I'll just hang out for it." And it sold for $200. So I'm like, sucked in, mate. Now look who's laughing.
He'd be spewing.
Anyway, there you go. So usual Mike says around $500-600 for the ring on eBay. So don't rip the boxes.
I think I might actually have to take the
all of the contents out of the box, because I just display it up there with everything, and it's all just kind of falling to the bottom of the box. And I think that's why the sticker sheet is kind of a little bit bent. So I might have to take it out and like find a safe place for it to just survive and not in the box, because if I leave it in the box, it might degrade a little quicker. But yeah, it's still such a cool thing just to have. That's why all my actual Hasbros are just in a retro ring, because those were very accessible about 4 years ago, and they look pretty much like the original ring. I just didn't put the stickers on it because that WWE logo is just weird looking. And they display great in the retro ring, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What about you, Scotty? We'll keep moving. What's your favorite? Yeah, faves.
So just very similar to Phil. I started pulling out some figures and I couldn't stop. And next minute I pulled out half my collection. But so there's a few that the boys have mentioned that I do really like Bam Bam Bigelow and the Blue Mr. Perfect. So I've set them aside. Yeah. These aren't necessarily the ones that are the kind of rarer and most expensive. These are just the ones that I couldn't improve them if I tried. Like if I was given the opportunity to nitpick at them, I honestly can't. And if my 8-year-old self walked into the room and looked at my Hasbro collection, like the ones that he would be most excited about, which is often how I think about like my most favorite, my favorite pieces in my collection is like, what would the inner child like lose his shit about? You know what I mean? So for me, there's a few of them.
Good way to look at it, man.
This Undertaker figure is just perfect. I mean, I absolutely love this figure. You know, the classic Dead Man in the early 90s version, with the grey and the black, with the hat. I didn't see, as a kid playing with Hasbros, it never really bothered me if the figure had the entrance gear. Like Ted DiBiase in tux never really bothered me as a kid. Likewise with the Undertaker with the hat fixed to him. That was I didn't have this figure as a kid, but that wouldn't have been an issue. I just think this figure is perfect.
Hey, just real quick before you move on, your Hasbro Undertaker has got more of a dark skin, a dark beard and hair, whereas mine is more red.
So that's the series. You got the Series 3 version. This is the Series 8 version.
Got it.
This was the red card version that came with the trench coat, this figure is actually a pretty, one of the, I think it's like a relatively tricky figure to find, especially in the trench coat. But yeah, I need that Series 3 version with the reddish hair and beard. And I believe there's also a third version as well with a different sort of eyeliner, but I could be wrong there. I'd have to refer to the Hasbro. But yeah, there's definitely some variance in terms of hair and beard color with the Taker.
Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely love it. And like the Undertaker might be my favorite wrestler of all time. I mean, I have trouble going past Hulk Hogan just because of the era that I was a fan of wrestling for. But in terms of like a character that just captivated my attention to the point that I was literally scared of him. Like as a kid, I would have nightmares of the Undertaker. Like in a good way. Like, yeah, dude, I'm 8 years old. Like I'm thinking it's a real dead man and stuff like that. Like this is the thing. Like the fact that the outcomes are predetermined doesn't take away from my enjoyment of that show that Matt and I went to the other day. Like, no. I'm not one of these people that's like, I'm going to throw him under the bus, but like Dino from Totally Tailored Retro Hunters has said to me before, I don't know how you get into it because it's not real. I'm like, well, I didn't realize Batman and Superman were real, and you seem to like those guys, which I do as well. And that's the way I look at it. Like, these guys were like superheroes and supervillains to me. But with that said, once I was 11 and 12 years old and I did understand kayfabe a little bit more, naturally, like it did drift me away a little bit. But with that said, the era was targeted more towards the kids. So you know what I'm saying? I think that was a factor as well. But anyways, The Undertaker just captivated my attention so much as a kid, so much. Whether he was a fan favorite or whether he was that first monster heel as he was first introduced in like 1990, absolutely love him. So, and just maintain relevance in over the years, just an absolute superstar. But yeah, this is my first figure that I couldn't improve upon that figure if I tried. Absolutely love it. We've got the Hitman. I think this was the version that Enzo referred to earlier, like the second version of Bret Hart. Again, just couldn't improve upon this figure if I tried. The play pose, the detail in the outfit, like the Hitman logo is just perfectly captured. The little hearts, the pink, the iconic pink, black and white. Absolutely love that. And the other one is just HBK in the classic red and white. I love this figure. The shades, the tattoo. Love a bit of HBK. So another figure that I just couldn't improve upon if I tried. I think they nailed it. And because we haven't even mentioned a single tag team, let me throw up a tag team. By no means my favorite tag team, but I just think Hasbro crushed these two figures. And it's the Nasty Boys.
Oh.
I don't think these figures are going to be on anyone's like top all-time Hasbros, but you know, I just couldn't improve upon them. Like the detail in the Nasty Boys outfit, the mohawks, the missing teeth, the shades, like the rats. These figures are just perfect, and they just capture early '90s nasties, and I love that. So there you go.
Good choices.
They're all in perfect looking condition, mate. They don't look like they've got any scuffs or marks or paint wear.
Man, you know what, dude? I don't have a lot of stories of like, oh, the toy gods shined on me and I just got this amazing holy grail in a $2 bin. Like, I don't feel like I'm a collector that's super blessed with luck. I also don't think I'm at the other end of the spectrum. I think I'm somewhere in the middle of the road. But with that said, I do feel like I started collecting Hasbros at the right time, so I was fortunate in that regard. And you know, I was spending $50 and $60 on a Hasbro before I could get my head around spending that much on a Ninja Turtles figure. You know what I mean? Even though in hindsight, I wish that I ponied up for $60 and $80 for complete Turtles figures that came in those later waves when they're now going for double and triple that. So with the Hasbros, I started collecting them early, and I have had a bit of good fortune in terms of just picking up some good figures over the years. And I have to say that initial lot really got me, of 35, 40 figures, got me started on the right note. So, oh no, Dino's still watching. Mate, you probably remember that conversation we had at the back of your joint. Like, it's just, it's funny, man. And a lot of people say that. Like, a lot of people who didn't grow up with wrestling say, like, how can you be into it? Don't you know it's not real? Like, that really isn't a factor. It's like a real life theater. Real life.
Everyone that says this to me, I go, that's okay. But like, the wrestling was like the days of our lives for like people used to watch. You know, and the Bold and the Beautiful. This is for the blokes. It's exactly the same thing.
That's right. But yeah, Dino, I'm just mucking around, mate. I hope you took that in the right way. But
no stuff, Dean.
Yeah.
What's your wrestling name? If you're all wrestlers, what would your finishing moves be? There you go.
Oh, dude, DDT. No question. That's my favorite move, man.
Yeah, Enzo?
I'll do the old Jimmy Snooker from the top rope, the old splash. Yeah, I was a big fan of that one. I used to do that on my brother.
What about you, Enzo?
Yeah, look, I'm a sucker for a good power bomb or a stone cold stunner. Although I've got to say, there's been a lot of people doing the stunner lately, and there's some terrible ones. Like, how hard is it to stuff up a stunner? Like, I don't know if you guys watch the current stuff, but like, Kevin Owens' stunner is like shocking. It's straight down. No, it looks terrible on camera.
Yeah, there you go. No one likes it.
What's that, Sis?
He goes to his butt. He will go into his butt. He's not like he's
that's what I'm saying. It's great. It's kind of like, I don't know, like it just feels a bit clinical, like it's just dead straight. And a lot of people don't know how to sell it either, which I think doesn't help.
Exactly. Yeah, I think sometimes they can't sell it. Like if you ever watch a Stone Cold Stunner being done to Triple H would take a stunner like a champion.
Or the Rock.
Or the Rock.
The Rock would oversell, like a big time.
That's right.
It's such a good point though, guys. Like when it comes to a finishing move, see, I feel like sometimes these days, and listen, I don't watch much of it, so maybe it's just the clips I've seen, but sometimes I feel like finishing moves aren't finishing moves anymore. Like back in the 80s and 90s, like a wrestler would signal for his finishing move and everyone would lose the plot and the bad guy would weasel out of it. And sometimes you wouldn't even get that payoff because the finishing moves were like a sacred thing. And if it did get landed, then it's done. Like show's over. Like you never had situations where someone's like taken, repeated finishing moves because it didn't get to that. You know what I mean? There was something special about just that one hitter quitter when it came to those finishing moves back in the day. But with that said, I'm not really the kind of person that's going to say, oh, it was better in the good old days or whatever, because audiences evolve and you can't keep giving them the same stuff. Otherwise, the WWE wouldn't still be as relevant now as it was 40 years ago if they hadn't have evolved to that changing audience. So I'm also mindful of that.
I mean, the pace of the matches, if you go back and watch, Ultimate Warrior versus Hulk Hogan.
It's a different game.
Yeah. It's so much slower. It's really slow. And then, then if you compare that to like a modern main event or something where they're doing like false finish after false finish after false finish, you're like, oh, 1, 2, oh, no, he's kicked out again,
Yeah, tons of near falls.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I was a wrestler, I would probably have to go with the pedigree. I think that just looks like it freaking hurts the opponent. Like, how do you not get hurt by your face getting smashed into the mat? Like, you can't, and the arms are wrapped underneath and like right on the mat.
That part of it always looks so painful.
Which one?
Like the setup looks painful of the pedigree.
I'll never forget. It's one of my favorite wrestling memories is Mick Foley taking the pedigree from Triple H, and of course that awesome Royal Rumble match, the street fight when he was portraying Cactus Jack, and he got pedigreed in the thumbtacks. Like, come on, man!
Brutal.
Like,
respect.
So good, so good. That's why I love the wrestling.
Might have to
hey,
be.
Matt,
Well,
I want to know. The Diesel power.
It's going to be power bomb.
Yeah. And Diesel had a tremendous power bomb.
Yeah. He had a lot of height, so it was really good sell. It made it look real, like, high. Bang.
Yeah. The Jack.
You watch a lot of interviews. You watch a lot of interviews these days, and a lot of these guys are going, I wish I'd chosen a different finishing move because I'm paying for it today. Like Hulk Hogan reckons that his lower back, from all the leg drops, and his legs, they're just absolutely, like, it's one of the reasons why he's had so many surgeries. He goes, if I knew what I knew today, I would have chosen a different one.
Yeah.
But in saying that, there was also interviews with Hulk Hogan saying he picked the leg drop because when he first got into wrestling, his leg got broken on purpose there was a Japanese guy. He was taken to this guy to train to be a wrestler. And the guy broke it on purpose to see if he really wanted to be a wrestler. So he let it heal. He went back to building, and then he got back into wrestling a couple of years later. But his leg wasn't quite straight.
Yeah.
And he said he used it, but obviously it's been there's been some side effects to that. So very interesting.
What's your favorite figures, Matt?
Oh yeah, well, I don't have my one of my favorites. It's going to have to be Roddy Piper. Look, Roddy Piper, I've just had a fascination for Roddy Piper in all my years of wrestling, and it's just nothing. No one beats Roddy Piper. He was so good on the mic. Anything that he did, I'd watch. Even today, I just rewatch. I don't know why.
Gaz will be happy with that choice.
Yeah, so when Gaz was, there you go. Like, Gaz is actually still there. So there you go, Gaz. That's one for you as well.
He's such a hard one to get with a white shirt as well. Like the yellowing on, yellowing on Hot Rod is terrible usually, but that one looks great.
Yeah, he's not too bad actually. I had to get, like, when I started, he was one of the first ones I had to get because he was the one as a kid, or not a kid, there you go. Look at that. We're getting both.
Another beaut.
Yeah, you're right, man. Like his shirt is a little bit yellow compared to even his shoulder paint app. So I think it might have been a different paint.
Yeah, true. Yep, and the wristbands. Yeah, they're a little bit different white, so you can see how white the wristbands got.
Oh, so that's the same on yours.
It is a little bit yellow on the chest. Yeah, it's not perfect white like that wristband is.
Mm.
Yeah.
An icon.
Oh, absolutely. That's I don't know why, but like that, sometimes we're a little bit drawn to the bad guy, right? Because in life, in essence, I'm a good guy, I guess. But that bad persona just completely fascinates me, and he could get away with so much. It just fascinated me. I loved him. My other one is Andre, another big fella from one of the, I think, Series 1, this guy. So that's
Series
why
1,
it's a big slam. I don't think his action works, actually. Doesn't. But that's another one. And I'm going to show, Bam Bam Bigelow is definitely one that I need to get, and I really, he's one of my favorites. And the other one, I'm just trying to find, I'm not sure if I can find a picture. I have this marked. Here he is. This one is my ultimate favorite. I really want to get this guy. I haven't got him in my collection, but I've got to get him in my collection. Papa Shango.
Hey, Matt, did you see the graded one that Tony B had at Collecticon?
Yes, but
beautiful, eh?
I can't spend that money.
Oh, no, nor can I. But just it's nice to see a pristine, like, one in acrylic, even though I'm not into graded stuff, but just to see that it just presents beautiful and really cool.
No, for sure. And I think the other one I really enjoyed was what's his name? Honky Tonk Man with his. I don't know why. I'm fascinated by the Honky Tonk. Another bad guy.
Honky Tonk Man's a great figure. I had him out as well, just because. Since Dog used the term toyetic, I mean, this is just toyetic, man. The guitar detail, the face sculpt, like the hair, everything is just captures the character. And I think what was great about the Hasbro line, and I don't mean to hijack your point here, Matt, is these wrestlers were purpose-built for toys. It was like their whole entrance gear and everything, they just were designed, they just lended themselves so well to toys. It wasn't like Stone Cold, just a bald dude with a goatee and black trunks. I mean, their outfits had so much going on that they just naturally made great toys.
Yep.
Has yours got the arthritis, the bit of click, click, boom action?
Mine's all right. No, mine's actually... Mine's actually works. Yeah, it's pretty tight. Yeah.
Yeah, mine has a bit of arthritis, and he doesn't have a guitar.
He's old.
I got a few Hasbros with arthritis.
Have you got a spare guitar for me, Scotty?
I don't, man. Oi, this guitar came in that bulk lot that I bought way back when, like in 2018. It didn't have the figure, but it had the guitar, and I was like, "You beauty!" I mean, obviously the figure's easier to find than the guitar. So happy days on that.
Yeah, the guy had this one, which is the one that I got off him. He also had the one with his guitar, but he wanted more money for it. I'm like, and at the time I didn't realize how hard it was to find. So I was like, I'll just grab the Lucy, and now I totally regret it.
Beauty. Yeah, I just picked him up recently. I don't know if Simon Schechter's still in the chat, but he was over in Tokyo. We went on a wrestling toy hunt together, and I picked him up just about a month ago. So yeah, he's awesome.
He didn't have a guitar, did he?
That would have been a great toy hunt linking up with Simon. He's a good bloke.
Yeah, magic guy. Yeah. I don't know if you're still out there, Simon, or if you're in bed, but good catching up, buddy.
And this one is my worst figure. I just...
Poor old
Brutus. That's my worst as well.
Is it? Yeah, him and El Matador
are worst as well.
Oh, really?
Or
maybe
poor
this
Brutus.
is the worst figure ever.
My boy Brutus.
Yeah, like nothing against the guy. Like I didn't mind his matches, but
it's his face.
So it was funny when Phil was showing his jumper before he was pushing down his shoulders. You've got this little part here. You're meant to do that.
You got the
right. I got you with my Coco. Yeah. There we go. You're right. Much better.
You just need good reflexes.
I got to be honest with you guys, because I distinctly remember I had a few jumpers in my childhood fig fed, and I never actually I never actually did that. I mean, I think I did it just to test it out, but I'm like, that's shit. Like, I just use my imagination and just, send them flying, or,
Yeah.
I didn't feel the need to actually literally make them go airborne. But so I was never a fan of this fuse leg lump on the back feature.
The Rockers tag team's pretty rubbish too, right? The version 1. Are they both jumpers? Both Sean and Marty Jannetty, or just one of them?
They're both jumpers, but Marty isn't really a jumper because he doesn't have the lump on the back, but he's still got the fused legs. He doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
So
right.
they've both got the fused legs. Right.
He doesn't have anything on his back.
Yeah, so you got nothing to make him jump. Yeah, wow. It's really weird. But see, at least with the Rockers, they're high flyers, so I can understand. And same as Coco Beware, like there's some figures that I don't really like that play pose and that play feature, but at least it makes sense in the context of the wrestler.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense with Brutus, right?
Then you have Kamala with the fused legs, or Brutus with the fused legs. Like, it's like, what were you thinking? Like, what's going on? I'm getting heated over here.
That's the rompers haircut.
That's right. It's aggressive. I'll cut an angry promo and close my laptop. Just go over.
Yeah.
What about you, Phil? What's your worst one? It wasn't Brutus, was it?
Yeah, Brutus is definitely up there. I think maybe for Brutus, he's had the greatest improvement. Maybe I'll go there. The best improvement from Wave 1 to Wave. I'll put a positive spin on things.
Yeah.
The best improvement up to the version 2, maybe.
Sure.
But yeah, I totally agree. Version 1 is a big disappointment, especially because he was my favorite wrestler. He's yeah, that version 1 is just a horrible, horrible figure.
And Enzo, what's your? Oh yeah.
Sorry, can I? Dino's just signing off for the night, but if he's still hanging around until we see this comment, I just want to give him a real quick shout out. I wasn't very kind to him before, about him deriding wrestling, but I need to give the legend a shout out because check this out. This is how cool is this birthday card that him and his wife Sarah gave me today. I have no idea where they found this birthday card, but this is awesome. And also, just while we're on the topic, they've hooked me up with a set of these 1991 trading cards.
Whoa.
Awesome.
Wow.
I think these might be the same set that Enzo had, cards signed from, but maybe it looked like Enzo had some of the like slick gold parallels that were signed, but these cards, like, I need Sizdog's little camera to show his breaks, but they're just the 1991, all the major faces and heels. And there's an absolute stack of them, and it appears to be near a complete set. So I'm going to have a good time going through these, but I just wanted to really quickly give Dino and his wife Sarah a shout out before he goes, if he's still hung around.
19. The only ones I got these ones from the let's say the 80s. I think. Let me just quickly make myself think. These ones here.
Yeah.
They scan. I don't know if they'll scan ones. Anyway, I found these I used to be a big card collector, but this is Hulk and Iron Sheik. And I was a bit naughty because I used to play rugby league cards a lot. And what I've done with them is I've written a number 6, so he was my 5'8". And so I had to have a muck around team, and I don't know why I drew on these cards, but sneaker. But yeah, I found these, and there's Roddy, my man Roddy, sweet. But yeah, and there's Wendy Richter, of course.
Nice.
Anyway, so there's those, and there was a bunch of other ones they're in action poses. So, and they just had on the back there, the Superstar Speak, so George Animal Steel ripping up stuff. So I don't know. These I'm not sure. I remember seeing the Hulk Hogan. They call that one the rookie card.
Yeah, that's iconic, that card.
So I don't know if that's actually worth anything or not. So these days, these cards. But
seeing the card of the Junkyard Dog, that's there's a few wrestlers that I wish they'd brought Hasbro figures out of, and the Junkyard Dog would be definitely one of them. And also the Iron Sheik, a few characters that icons of that era that they sort of missed the cut
That's a great question in terms of for everybody, because when you think about it, Hasbro did get it right in like 95% of the cases. Like when you look at who the stars were for each year, generally they got it right for the most part. But there's definitely a few wrestlers that would have made great Hasbros that didn't make the line.
For sure.
Yeah, true. I think did you guys, any of you guys, get the Mattel retro ones? Because they had Jump Cat and Iron Sheik in there.
Yeah, my favorite Mattel retro has to be the
Don't pull out. If you pull out Diesel, Sis, I'm going to come and rob you.
Diesel, man. That's not my era. I'm an Attitude Era guy, so no, it's the Kane.
That's beautiful, that figure.
Retro. It's so cool. I got it loose, and I mean it's buried, but I have a complete Kane shell, and I have it mint on cut as well. But yeah, I'm so glad that I got this one. The retros took a big break, and now they're back, but they're not like a retail release. It's really only through Mattel Creations that you can get them, and you can only buy them in packs of 4 and stuff. And they're in Australia. Forget about it, man. I don't have the coins to spend on the. I mean, if it was just the toys, I would buy them. But it's basically you're buying the toy, and then 2 more copies of the toy just on the postage. And you're not actually getting the toys. You're just spending this crazy amount of money on postage. But that's my postage over.
Do they come with the action feature as well, Sis? Or
100%.
Oh yeah, nice. There we go.
Man.
Oh, exactly the same.
Yeah.
So they really do a pretty little tribute to the Hasbros with figures that could have come out, or they fantasy book like Attitude Era, because he wasn't, by this stage it was Bone Crunchers when Kane came out, because he was in 98 Super, and the Hasbro's finished in 94, 95.
Yeah.
But yeah. Does anyone else have any of the
No.
Yeah. I've got Iron Sheik up there and Ultimate Warrior.
retros. Weirdo.
And I've got that 4-pack up there as well. Actually, I'll go and get it. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I'll go and get it.
Sis, have you seen that? What's that blue Kane at the moment in the Indies?
Yeah, over the UK.
Blue Kane. I don't know where he's from.
In the UK.
Blue Kane.
Yeah, he's in the UK. Blue Kane.
The reception's terrible.
He wears a mask and everything. No,
is that me or is it Sis?
But it's basically.
Nah, losing you, Sis.
Yeah.
Oh, I can hear. Oh shit! Really? I'm still connected. I've got connected to my phone.
It's not too bad. It's just.
Can you hear me now, boys?
Can hear you now.
Half and half, yeah. We're catching most of it.
Cool.
Just keep going.
Yeah. No, I love Blue Kane. We should come out and get him to sign a 5th bloody card for me or something. I don't know.
I've not heard of Blue Kane, but I'm fascinated. I'm going to go on a YouTube rabbit hole after this.
Go
do
it. Google. There you go. So that's those
let's see those retros. Oh, nice. Yeah, so how much did that cost you to get out here?
Mate, like this was on the the Ringside Collectibles, and this was on special. To get out here was $80.
Oh, that's good. It's like $20 a fee.
Yeah.
Mean Gene. Nice.
Yeah. So that was on special there, and I've never seen any like they've released a few since. So there's Mean Gene, then there's Mr. T. The glare's kind of all over the place there.
That's all right.
But yeah, there's that one, and they've got the figure. And so there's Bob Orton. So this just takes me back to that WrestleMania with these guys, because you need a Hulk Hogan, which I think isn't in another release, and of course my man, look at him, Roddy Piper, what a legend.
I think that one holds up to the original. I like the original better.
I do. I think
is that kilt removable?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. So it's a weird look with the kilt but no shirt.
Yeah.
No, it is, isn't it? Doesn't quite go. I don't know why, but anyway, I got it mainly for the other figures, even though I like Roddy, and now I'm going to make myself get off there. So, but yeah, I love that set. I know there's a lot of other ones that they're doing, so it'd be good to get hold of. Look, I know we didn't get to the orange cards, guys. Sorry. It leaves us for something else to talk about another time, maybe.
No, can we just because I'm just intrigued now, if you guys don't mind, just when Phil started talking about, he wished he got his JYD Hasbro. Like, is there one figure? And Matt, I'm sure I know who you're going to say, but is there one wrestler for you guys that you would have liked to see get a Hasbro?
Diesel.
Yeah, Diesel to me is the most glaring omission in the line, and I know you'd probably agree with that, Matt.
Yeah. I mean, getting all the other guys like 1, 2, 3 Kid and from that era, like that,
and 2 Razor Ramones,
Shawn Michaels, Marty Jannetty, and Diesel was champion. He was champion a little bit later after the Hasbro's ended, I guess, admittedly, and he's only by that time. I think he's only really still Shawn Michaels' bodyguard, so he probably wasn't a major character at that time.
Yeah.
Was Vader in the mix at the Hasbro time? Was he snubbed?
No, he was more Attitude.
WCW.
Or mid. Was he about 96?
He was in WCW at that time, I think. But he would have made a great Hasbro, that's for sure, with his mask and everything.
He came over eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I don't have any.
They've just released him, though, in that retro line.
Oh, they did. Yes, they did. You're right.
Yeah,
that's
cool. With Jerry.
Another one for me would be a tag team, Powers of Pain. I love the Powers of Pain when I was a kid. Warlord and Barbarian.
Well, that segues a little bit to what I was going to say, Phil, because I was going to say the Barbarian, because we got a Warlord figure, but we didn't get a Barbarian figure. But a Powers of Pain version of those characters would have been really cool with the face paint as well.
How good are the Road Warrior figures, though? Nobody really talks about them.
The Legion of Doom figures?
Legion of Doom.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I love those figures. The only thing that's, when I pulled the nasties out, the one thing about the LOD figures that I don't love are the fused legs on Hawk, but it does make sense with the Doomsday device, I suppose.
Yeah.
TJC.
Good night, Mike.
Good night, Mike.
Carl mentioned Miss Elizabeth, which is a good point, because obviously the LJNs, there was plenty of managers and announcers and personalities. Obviously with the Hasbros, we didn't get any of those, but Miss Elizabeth would have made a great Hasbro. I think Paul Bearer would have made a fantastic Hasbro.
Yeah, Paul Bearer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's why I said Powers of Pain, because when I saw Miss Elizabeth, I thought about Mr. Fuji. He'd be another good one.
And then to me, there's other versions of characters that did get Hasbros. There's other versions that I would have liked. Like I would have liked the Heart Foundation Neidhart, Jimmy Anvil Neidhart, and I would have loved a Natural Disasters Earthquake.
Yeah,
for sure.
And going back on the Legion of Doom as well, like unless you get one that's just been taken off the card, or you buy one on card and rip them open. To find one with the actual spikes that aren't all busted up. Like
most of the figures that you come across, you'll have at least 1 or 2 spikes snapped off. It sucks.
That's right.
So yeah, you just hope that they're on the back and not on the front, so you can at least display them like that. Yeah,
but I mean, they were designed to bash about, So when you see that, it's like a battle wound that's evidence of joy that they brought to a kid, but still I want my pristine Hasbros.
Right, I know. It's like, I think Retro Oz Enzo was mentioning his Dusty. And like I'm just happy to have him in the collection. Like he's in terrible nick. Like he's got a bit of paint rub on his chest. Yeah. It's so loose. Like there's no spring in his joints at all. He displays really well. So I'll take it because I know to replace it is impossible. Well, not impossible, but expensive. So I'm happy to
He's a
have
bloody hard figure to find.
Yeah, I still don't have him. He's wave 2, I think. I'm missing him and I'm missing Andre from wave 1. So I think out of all of the figures I really want to get, Dusty Rhodes and Andre the Giant are the 2.
Yeah.
I'd send you this one, Phil, but he's not really good.
It's all good. I'm patient, buddy. I can wait. He'll come to me.
Yeah, patience, and you'll come across them. Just because you mentioned it, and also Matt mentioned it with Papa Shango. Oh, my fire alarm's just gone off in my building. If there's one figure that I could get, I want to get one of the Razor Ramones.
Yeah, it'd be a good one to get. Do you need to go, Scotty?
Can you hear that? Oh,
Yeah.
no. My dog's going absolutely mental. My fire alarm's going off. I might have to go, boys.
a real
I'm sorry.
wrestling show.
Go. It's 2 hours anyway, mate. Go.
Good boys. Might have to say good night.
Yeah, it's getting late, my
Yes,
friends.
fine.
Thank you, everyone.
Fellas. I'm sorry. I'll chat to you all later. Matt, thanks.
Save the toys. Save the toys.
Save the toys.
There's a fire. What do I take?
Take the Hasbros. Take the Hasbros.
Put your pants on. All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. All right. Thank you very much, chat, for hanging out and asking a few questions. I've missed a few comments, I'm sure, in there. But it's really great to have you guys. Sis, Phil, Enzo. Hopefully we can do this again sometime.
For sure.
Be good. Yeah. Been
Let's
great
do
catch up.
Bone crunches, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, there's so much to talk about. But anyway. All right. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you very much, chat. We'll end it now. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.